So it's a nice sunny day, but the wind is freezing cold. I had many compliments on my interview this morning. Oh, you've got a lot of sunlight coming into that room. And I'm like, yeah, there's some direct sunlight just to the right of me, which is so great for when you're like, when you're in a room and be like, oh, this is like my study. It's like, you're not supposed to have direct sunlight, but as long as it's not on the computer, it's like, okay. But I was just like, going like, yeah, I know there's like direct sunlight coming in from the window and it's like very sunny, but the wind's freaking cold. There's no warmth in the wind at all, so I'm just out for my everyday morning walk. I have no idea where the dog is. Oh, that's someone over there. I bet they're sitting there. I have no idea where the dog is, but the dog's somewhere. But it is so cold, that wind just goes through you. Anyway, I'm pretty concerned that I just failed my interview because I waffle on about stupid things and I have no idea what I'm saying. And I try to keep in mind, just get straight to the point. But then when I talk, it's like I'm usually like saying the wrong things and waffling over too much. I sort of combat my out of place words with a lot of cover over waffle. So when I don't think I've said something right, I cover it over by waffling on and I repeat myself and all this other stuff, and it's like it comes across that you would sort of think, oh, that's like a typical liar. But I was like, just, I don't know, I'm trying to explain something, but then I go into lengths to explain something, and I'm like, I really shouldn't try to explain anything. It's not my strongest point. But when it comes to real life scenarios, like where they ask you, you're in a certain situation, someone's called up, they're upset, what do you do? How do you overcome it? And I'm like, I just waffle on about some silly instance where someone feels like they're paying too much, or someone doesn't have like all their members on a membership card, and they phone up distraught. And I don't even say it like that. If I said it like that, it'd be so simple. But I sort of say big long sentences about nothing, and then I'm like, really? I don't know if anyone's got the point, but I feel like I'm a liar because I'm just like so many words, and to say something big about something small, and I'm like, really? Why can't I just say it? Rather than pick your way around words and say a lot of long sentences that probably don't need to be said. You're like, I don't know. I don't actually really know what I'm saying. I just know what I'm trying to say. So that's sort of the point. Because typically you don't know what you're saying until you start talking. And then you're like, I'm not really the best make-up talker, because I just end up saying big long sentences about absolutely nothing, and it's like, and then I repeat, I let it go, repeat it, try and get some points going. Doesn't really feel like I've made any point there, and I stop. It's like, yep, that's all my expert experience all in one. And it's like, no, it doesn't. I think I just screwed up. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't get it. This job relies on references, and I'm like, my references gave up on me over a year ago. I just shoved them on there because I don't actually have anyone else, so to give you a reference. And so I was like, screw it, just keep the people. Maybe they'll give you a good word in, but most likely that they won't. So I'm going to go back inside, and after I go for my walk, and just go on the computer, start working. I think I'm going to start getting up at 8 o'clock to do a 9 to 5 workplace, because I think all these jobs are going to all fall through. I would be very surprised if I actually got it. But for this job I might need to relocate so that I can go to a couple meetings a week, and I'm like, work and then pay rent and then relocate to pay rent. It's like, it's a generally good salary, but it's also, they said it was permanent position, so that'd be good if I got it, but I don't think I will. I just waffled on too much, and the fact that they brought up the idea of references. I haven't heard from my references in over 6 months. Each job where I've let them know reference and they go check the reference, no contact with the referee. It's so, and I'm like, okay. So anyway, that's cool. I sort of don't want to get it. I want to get it because I need a job, but I don't want to get it because I don't really want to work it, but but I'll see if I get it or not. I just don't feel very encouraged after that interview. I was like, it was a little bit depressing, and I have no idea what I look like. I didn't really look at myself on the screen. Usually I do, but I just know I was wearing a nice yellow top, my skivvy, and you know, I sort of glanced at my face when I first showed my screen, and then I was like, you know, it just looks like your round face. Doesn't really look spectacular, but yeah, I didn't think the interview went very well. There was a lot of questions, a lot of rundown, and it's like your typical business, which for a change, it's not like your trendy business, which is only going to ask you a few questions. It was like the total rundown of the company, explaining the whole entire company and the individuals behind it. And then they asked me, you know, just give me a little bit of a description about myself, and I'm like rambling on about this and that, you know. And then it's like, well, they didn't have any questions about my career really after I'd done my intro, so I must have covered a few things in my intro. And and then I was like, yeah. And then I was like waffling on with the answers, and I'm like, even during the interview, I'm like thinking, geez, can I say one thing straight? I was like, no, I can't say anything straight. I just continuously talk. A talker can talk, you know. But yeah, I think if I could chop my answers down and actually know what I'm talking about, but I don't know what I'm talking about, and so I'm just waffling on and on. So I don't know what they thought of me. They probably think I'm a total airhead, which technically I am. I don't use a lot of my brains, and but they thought my reason for educating myself, you know, were quite a well thought out answer. It's just my extended answers. It's like the more I talk, the less encouraged I feel that I'm doing a good interview. And so I was like, that's it, I give up. By the end I was like, over the questions, I'm not getting any closer here. I'm not like coming off as a professional, just an airhead who's waffling along and sort of tripping over things, and I'm like, So I personally was through with the questions, because I'm like, that's it, it's not going anywhere. This whole interview isn't going anywhere. And that's exactly what I thought during the interview. And so I don't care about it anymore. I'm so traumatized. It went on for so long. I'm usually like 10-15 minutes. It went on for like 40 minutes. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but the more I talk, the less encouraged I feel about this whole job interview. So yeah, but I did tell them I do have first week in December I want to do something, so which is go to my concert. So I said first week of December, probably going to be vacationing in a hotel room. I didn't say that, but I said first week of December. And thinking I'm going to be in my hotel room, I'm going to be shopping, Christmas shopping, I'm going to be possibly taking photographs, and I'm even going to go to a concert. So I've got all these things to do at the first week of December. First time I've ever said I'm actually a little bit busy. I'm really excited. Like I keep thinking about it and I get excited. It's like the only thing I want to do this year. Everything else is like secondary. But I don't know if this is going to be like one of the last concerts that I go to, because I don't often go to concerts, but hopefully I'll leave it and I'll think I've just had the best time. Because sometimes I leave it and I don't think I've had the best time, and I'm like thinking, oh, it could have been better, could have been much better. But hopefully I will leave and think I'm gonna buy probably a keyring or a magnet and a purse, I think. Maybe a t-shirt. So I'm gonna put it aside around $100, because purses are like $35. Keyring or a magnet might be $10, and a shirt or hat's usually around $35 to $45. So maybe 20 if you're lucky, but usually the other amount. So, but I actually need a new hat, so I might get a hat. So cute, look at you. Yeah, so I'm really happy that I feel like it's a really good year to see a concert. You know, it's like some years I'm like, I can't be bothered to go to a concert. I'm so grumpy and upset, and you know, and whatnot. And I'm like, I couldn't be bothered going to a concert. Who goes to a concert anymore? But this year it's like I couldn't wait to go to a concert. So I planned it early this year, and I'm definitely going. So, and I just think it's the best year to go to a concert. They've even had like a little vaccination, so hopefully I'll be full and protected and and everything. So, but this wind makes me feel like I'm gonna get a cold. I generally don't walk in it very much. I go for like 1 or 2 walks a day, and I'm like, it's so cold though. It's like an Arctic wind. Anyway, I don't have that high hopes for this interview, but I do have to go on to the computer and say yes, I've actually been to the interview. So that's part of my mission of things to do. Other than that, you know, I just edit, do a bit of work, and do whatever, you know. Nothing big. Oh, these clouds are so pretty. Look at them. So nice. Anyway, I got stuff to do. Can't stand around gossiping. There's nothing much to say, other than the fact that the interview went terrible and I probably won't get the job. It's a pretty good job though. I would like to get it, but I probably won't. based on my answers in the interview, it's like, who would hire me after that? It was like just talking about crap all the time. Like at first it was good, and then it was like, oh, I have no idea what I'm saying. That's just, you know, just sitting there trying not to look deflated. Like I'm like, I give up. I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue what I'm saying anymore. It's been so long, and I have less to no ambition about this interview now that I've started to really talk. It's like you're not getting closer to me or my work or or how well I can do, you're getting further away from it just because you're getting me to talk. Like, I'm not used to having an opinion. I'm not used to having long conversations about nothing. All I know how to do is answer the phone and collect details. I don't know anything else. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'll get over it. I actually wanted the more remote working. This one's a hybrid, so they expect you to go in the office. And it just has to be like, oh, we've actually hired you for, some entertainment as opposed to working. And it's like, just has to be that kind of grimy thing. And I'm like, I'll just be quitting anyways. So you don't have to change your whole life around it for it. But I actually wanted another job, which is hybrid. I mean, remote, because it sounded really good. And it says work from home only. And I'm like, yeah, that's stuff. I would like that job, but this one's hybrid. So I was like, oh, you have to go to office a day or two a week. You're like, oh, it sucks. I have to meet people. I just want everything to be fully remote.